to say and do. We pray for the health and safety of all of our students and families. We ask all this in Christ. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to note all board members are present, and Mr. Hudak, our attorney, is joining us via Zoom. At this time, we'll go to item number 2, approval of minutes for the June 11th, 2024 regular school board meeting.
Motion for second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Schuerman and a second by Ms. Mercer. Is there any questions or everything okay with the minutes? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to item number 3. Mr. Hudak, is there anything you have for us tonight? Is he with us, Anna?
I think we lost. Hi, Ryan. You're on speaker. Do you have anything for the agenda?
I don't have the link, and I couldn't pull the old ones out, and that's when I emailed, but I haven't got a new one yet. I'm updating mine. Did you send a new one, like email?
Ryan, why don't we do this while you're trying to find the link? Why don't we go ahead and go via telephone? Do you have any report for the chair and the board tonight?
No, I don't have a report for the board. But I'm not going to be able to find the link. I just need someone to send me a new one. It's not pulling up anything old, just so I'm clear.
Alan's working on that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, this time we'll go to item number 4, Superintendent Dr. Bennett.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to do something a little different tonight. Madam Chair, I'd like to have you step down to the front if you would. Thank you. It is my pleasure to present Board Chair Karen Chancey with the Small District Council of the Florida School Board Association with a Leadership Award for her service as the chairperson for the Small District Council for 23 and 24. Chris gave this to me to present to you. That was the reason I was late. Sure that we can get you this meeting and give this to you. And it was well deserved, well earned. Let's Dr. Bench make a picture of that.
Art is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Thank you.
A little blue,
And I
and then
can't
you
think
get bigger.
anybody more deserving. You represented DeSoto County so well.
Yes.
And ladies, this is our entire board. It is such a neat thing to have everybody that's trained, everybody that works well together. When we go someplace, if somebody's missing, everybody wants to know what's up. We're, y'all are a fixture at every board meeting that there is. I've laid my glasses down here.
On the podium.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Mott. And these Wildcat looking glasses are the replacements for those that I've lost and laid around somewhere. Yes. We've got a few things we're going to go through tonight. One, I'd like to recognize our VPK program. They were, Dr. Bennett, what is the process called where they come, the evaluation? And they were like right out of 5, weren't they? Which is an improvement from last year, but really that's where the bar is at. That's the top level of where we should be with summer VPK, would you say? They are doing awesome.
By leaps and bounds.
They are doing awesome. The little fellas are doing our U-Fly reading pieces, so they're getting a head start on starting school. When they go into kindergarten, they're going to be ready to rock with it. And boy, we're really excited about that. The next big piece, and Gina, you might have to straighten me out on some of this, Dr. Stafford, but the district was notified that we're a recipient of the Best Practice Award from the Florida Educational Risk Management Association. That's FIRMA. This recognizes the Florida districts that have implemented excellent employee safety, health, and risk management programs, and it's based on a comprehensive program audit. DeSoto is the representative of this award in the state. We had the lowest 4-year claims average by districts in the state of Florida based on these MOD calculations. So again, that's not just recognizing Gina, that's everybody that's in the district. And that's good stuff. And it's really going to dovetail in a little bit. Just as we start looking at health insurance changes, and I know this is a little different piece of health insurance, but the healthier people stay on jobs, the less the less impact it has on insurance of all types, really and truly in our premiums. So proud of what's happened in the district with that. The next thing I would like to do, and this will be the last piece of mine, and this is really what the board and the public are really probably very interested in, is we're going to look at our fish ship insurance proposal. We have Jim Powell from Alliant, Darren Brown from Avail, and we have Michael with Accentria here. That's the AAA. That's all three of our folks, and they all start with A's. But we're going to go through the self-funded model tonight, and it's a much brighter picture than it was a year ago. I think Blue Cross Blue Shield really exceeded everybody's expectations of their performance in this process. Jim, would you agree with that? That Blue Cross was a much more willing partner?
Yes. Yeah, it's quite difficult. Thanks for your patience. I think it's going to pay off. This is really an interesting proposal because it's all fluid. And what we were chatting about last year, well, maybe we'll look at Florida Blue for the medical, maybe we'll look at another vendor for the pharmacy, which is fine. That's what we've done with some of the other schools with F-SHIP. But Florida Blue, I must say, I was not surprised. Comparing their attitude last year to playing with us versus this year, it's a very strong proposal. The pharmacy that they put together and the pricing that they gave to our pharmacy really equaled what we were looking at with some of these other vendors. So I'm happy to report that what we're recommending to you all is no change other than the way we pay for the insurance. You know, it's Florida Blue paying the claims. It's the Florida Blue network. It's Florida Blue's pharmacy company, Prime Therapeutics, and it's Florida Blue on the stop loss insurance over the large claims. So it's a 100% Florida Blue program. So talk about minimizing the transition pains that we usually have sometimes when you change vendors. That's all good. So I wanted to give you that little preview before we start looking at the map page. I can get somebody else there. Sorry, problem. I was reading. It's all right. Okay, this is the map page, and this is why you have a printout as well, so you can make notes. But my partner in crime, Joe Logan, couldn't be here tonight. He sends his greetings. He put his report. He put it together. You met him last year. But this shows Joe's map on year one of the left side, how he develops your total costs. So he looked at your actual claims, which I have to say are better this year. The paid claims that we had over the last rolling 12 months. We had some really significant large claims last year when we looked at things. So Florida Blue, when they gave us a stop loss proposal, was very conservative. They carved out some of the individuals, creating entirely too much risk for the school district. This year, I'm happy to report it's a much more competitive and interesting stop loss proposal. So that's right. So what Joe did is blended your claims with where you'd be if you were a fully insured plan, just to bring some stability to your claim pick. And that's what we're looking at here with this 908 projection. The ASO fees, that's the carrier fees to pay your claims, and the consulting fees from our company to Prevail. That's the total that goes into that in managing the program. Then we have the stop loss, which is 200,000 specific. In the current contract right now, the pooling point, which is the term in a fully insured contract for large claims, is 215,000. So it's about $15,000 higher risk to the school in your current plan than what we're proposing for next October. So a little bit of good news there on a per claim basis. There's also an aggregate stop loss there, and you'll see that total number later. So the whole plan is protected. If we have a lot of individual large claims and total claims are up, we also have protection. So we're protected on the individual claims and the whole pool. So that's the stop loss premium. That's why it's such a significant number. There's a lot of risk there. So that's why that price is what it is. Then there's local contract perpetuation. That's the local servicing agent. That's built in. The wellness program, there's a funding amount that you're funding really to yourselves and for your wellness program that's built in. Plus Florida Blue is giving a $75,000 wellness fund back out of their ASO, their administrative fees. So we've set up here $150,000 to wellness. So that's included here, which I think is a good start. So we multiply that by the current enrollment, 451,000, and that gives us a 6.3 million expense on an annual basis. Over here to the right at the bottom, you'll see your current fully insured premium today is 6.6 million. That's going to 7.509 million October 1. That's a 13.3% increase. So if you don't do this, that's where you go. You go to that $7.5 million number. So we're coming in at 6.9 million with an aggregating specific. There's a little, I mentioned the large claims earlier. The compromise that we set with Florida Blue is we said, all right, we're going to look at claims up to 200,000. And then the school will have additional liability in the pool for all large claims at 570,000 above that. And so that was the compromise, because we have a couple of large ongoing claimants today in the plan that we had last year that we probably have next year. So that was a compromise position. To compare last year's number that we got from Florida Blue, that 570,000 number was 1.6 million of additional plan liability. It just didn't make any sense. That's why you stayed fully insured. And now's a good time, to make this move, because we've got less claimants in there. We've got a good proposal that makes a lot of sense. So even if we hit that number, we're at 6.9 million versus a 7.5 million fully insured renewal that we would have to pay regardless. So what do? Well, one of the beautiful things about self-funding is we decide together, we advise you, but as a group, where you're going to fund your money. So you might fund next year at 7.5 million, you might fund at 7.1 million, which is what we're recommending. Something less than you would have paid anyway with a fully insured plan. Just to prime the pump, to build up a reserve. There's a reserve amount from the state of Florida OIR, so insurance regulation, that for your plan would be about 800,000 that we want to have in the bank if the plan ever terminates. And why do we need reserve? What's that about? If you're ever to stop this plan, there are claims that are out there that have been paid for. That's 2 to 3 months of claims. So that's what a reserve is for. It also helps even out if you have a high year cost and your evens out. So there's some nice things you can do with funding for this to help even out the costs. It's really the best way to take long-term control of your plan costs, and that's what this decision is about. It's about control instead of the insurance company arbitrarily deciding how much their profits are going to be next year. And I care what Florida Blue says, we're not profit, but there are surpluses. They do very well. So let's take some of that back and keep it here. That's what we're talking about when you state redemption in your account. So it's very nice. So we're showing, even if we hit that 570,000 aggregated corridor, a gain of a little over 500,000 versus the renewal cost. So what's interesting is if you trend this forward, you see, all right, we've got 5 years here. Typically, medical inflation year to year is about 7%. So if you have a normal year, we expect your renewal a year from now to be plus 7%. That's kind of how it goes. If you have a good year, it might be less. Bad year, it might be more. That's if you're self-funded. A normal fully insured renewal, because of the carrier profits and extra premium taxes and all the things that go into it, is 10%. Well, after a while, when you trend out, your self-funded cost at 7%, the fully insured cost of 10%, it gets to be a pretty wide difference after a number of years. And that's how we're looking at a $5 million savings effectively over a 5-year period. So I don't really look at this as a 1-year decision. It is. You got to start somewhere. But really, the decision to go self-funded is really to create a long-term solution to today's problem. And so that's the impact. And we've seen that the Charlotte schools, their trends have been excellent and they've worked. But you have the capacity in this kind of program to control everything. So let's say next year, we're looking at the stop loss and we don't like what Florida Blue is offering in the stop loss. We shop it to the broad market as a representative option for you. So we'll come in with other proposals from other carriers, and we may change out the stop loss, move it away from Florida Blue to another carrier. Pharmacy, same thing. We talked about that last year, but honestly, the proposal they put forth was so aggressive, we're not recommending that at this time. But the beauty of this is you're going to build your data. We're going to have your claim data. We'll know. There's no hocus pocus that goes on with a self-insurance plan. You know what your costs are. There's no carrier reporting that you're wondering, is that really accurate? Really true? We see it and we'll be looking at it together. So those are kind of the points I want to make on this page. This is a huge page, a lot of numbers, a lot of math. Any questions? I don't want to go too fast because we got a lot of stuff here. Makes sense what we're talking about?
And Joe, just for clarification, you'd mentioned Charlotte, but this is totally independent of what Charlotte does. I know they've got some hiccups with some of their deductibles and all. I think we probably got a better plan.
Plan design. Yeah. That's one of the nice things about this approach is it's your plan. So we're using the schools together when we do our marketing. So we're using you all for leverage, frankly, and to get better deals from Florida Blue and from United Healthcare. But each school has their own deductibles, their own plans, their own employee contributions. So you're operating really as your own self-insurance plan, but enjoying some of that pooling that goes on behind the scenes. I appreciate you bringing that up. Questions?
You're doing a great job.
Joe. That's gonna be a shorter meeting. Oh, you already, look, geez, look at this. You're impressive. All right, so this is really kind of helps you have info. Projected claims 4.9 million, the aggregating specific deductible, that's at the excess risk level that we talked about. And then the fixed cost total was 6.9 million. The aggregate that I talked about is about $1.6 million higher than that. So if it's just a really bad year, which I've never seen in 40 years of business, actually anybody get their aggregate, it's just what we call sleep insurance. It's just theirs to say, you know, plan's covered if something really bad happens. So that's that number. So then what we showed again is the current cost of 6.6 million, the renewal cost and fully insured the 7.5 million, and then some different confidence levels. And this gets into, as a school board, deciding what do we want to fund? How much confidence do we want to have in each funding level? And as you might intuitively guess, the more money we throw in the bank, the safer it is, right? So I mean, just if you could fund twice this cost, it'd be really safe, but then you spend twice the money versus underfunding. Well, nobody wants that either. So where we've come up with is this second set of numbers, the 66th percentile. That's really 2/3 of the time that funding will be expense. So we think that's a good place to start. And that's 7.1 million. That's 8% over your current funding, but not 13.3% like your renewal. So it's a little bit less than your fully insured renewal. And as a reminder, this is the same plans you have now. We're not assuming any changed employee deductibles, no insurances, out of pockets, premium contributions. I don't know. We'll discuss that together. You know how you want to go with employee premiums, what they do. So this is the number that we're recommending. This 66%.
And Jim or Darren, either one of you can speak to this. I believe our sister districts that went in last year did not fund it at quite the same percentage or percentile. And they're going to have to make an increase this year just to stay.
Like Mike, we're kind of in the middle of that. We're party. We're in October, so we're kind of in the middle of their year doing a projection.
But we're taking the safest option by doing this.
It helps. Yeah, if you came in, with a higher funding amount, and inflation was 7%, you might not have any increase next year. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about. But the great thing about funding again is it's your account. It goes into your own bank account.
I mean, we've just got a pool of money for the next year.
Exactly. And that's what is exciting. It's building up that reserve. That gives you a lot of freedom to go. And Charlotte, we worked with them a long time, but they went for several years. They did some deductible increases, but they went for several years without even raising any employee contributions, which that was their strategy.
And just to know too, and Mr. Mead can attest to this as well, our insurance committee met and all of this was gone over in detail, and it was represented on the committee a broad spectrum across the district and lots of different areas. And the group has been really supportive supportive, and involved in this whole process. So there's not been any sort of, any part of the insurance committee group that's been like, forget it, we don't want to do that part, and another one, yeah, so everything's been moving along very smoothly and nicely, and everyone's been in good agreement, so it's been presented well to the group all along, and so I appreciate the entire insurance committee group and everything that they've contributed so far, and the expertise they all of you bring is worth every penny.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, but you raise a good point though, and I appreciate that, because the insurance committees, once they see how this works, you realize we can do something about it. So when you're fully insured, you're just kind of begging and pleading to the carrier, please treat us nicely. You know, this is very different. It's your plan, you're managing it, you're doing it. We help you model plan changes, and we're looking at trends and all that. And you have the data that you've really never had before being fully insured. So that's, I think the insurance company is really enjoyed.
I have a question. So when would we see some of the data if we went with you guys and moving forward into the next year? When will we start to see some predictions for future?
Yeah, the quarterly, we started on a quarterly basis, so we're talking about October start date here. So we'll have, and what's interesting is when we start this plan up, the first couple of months, the claims are almost zero. You know, the claims that are incurred then are paid 3 months later. So any claim that's incurred, like somebody's in the hospital at the end of September, that's paid by Florida Blue out of your own fully insured one. So when we look at data, you know, we do projections and we start with those months, and then quarterly we typically do an update. I mean, we can run updates as often as you'd like, but usually it's a quarterly thing to work 3 months at that. Typically then renewals, we start looking at about 6 months in. So we'll start April, May, believe it or not, talking about the next year's renewal and how things are trending, how they're looking. Sure. Madam Chair, I think probably one thing that we Avail Benefits has seen in helping these districts move over from fully insured to self-funded is really helping, I guess, stressing to the board and the insurance committee and everyone else that there is a difference between self-funding and fully insured. There is a lot more control. There is. The data, month one, the data comes in and it's ours, districts. No more than by law. So that's a big deal. But when you think about the funding, you're really thinking about putting money into your own district health savings, right? It's not the same as paying premium anymore. When you were paying premium to Florida Blue, it was theirs. You remember you were transferring all of your medical risk to them, and they were saying, okay, we think it'll cost about this much, and we're willing to dice that. It won't be, so we make money. Now you've got fixed costs that are just the cost of the program. Florida Blue now is charging us a set fee to use their network. And now our claims are our claims. So when the recommendation that FCHIP is going to give you in a line for a funding level, it's not premium. It is putting money into your savings account to pay your claims. So if they come in under, you've got more money in your savings account or your checking account. You can look at it as that. It's an expense account that you're paying claims in. And if you put more in, it's still your money. And it's not gone anywhere except for it's just you're obligating to pay those claims. But it's not something to where you please don't feel as if, well, our premium now has gone up and we don't have a 10% rate increase. This 7.2% recommendation is just that. It's a recommendation so that you'll be able to pay your claims as they predicted will come in next year based on your historics. And so as we go more self-funded, more data we gain, the tighter their recommendations can be. And so I'll say it like I've told the other districts, put as much as you can in the first year. And I think the insurance committee, Marcus, they all really talked to Dr. Stafford. This model was there. Everyone thought about really almost going to the 13%, right? But then they said, well, and with the analytics, they thought 7.2 is good. I wish a couple other districts would have kind of built some firewood their first year. Hardy didn't quite do it the way they kept their plan flat. Henry did the same thing. So now, as their plan has matured, they've had some claims that have popped up. And so now Line and FSHIP are coming into them and saying, we recommend, don't have to, right? But we recommend that you put more money into your, so that you can make sure that you have that to cover your claims. You'll have to pay them regardless. You're self-funded, the state of Florida will hold you to account, whether or not you pull it out of some other fund or if it's out of your, inside your FSHIP account. But I think Hardy's looking at a 2.3% increase, so it's not bad. And Henry's still way too early. But we, FSHIP, has been giving them data and reports as often as they wanted. Their first one didn't quite understand it because the data was immature, and all of a sudden they were like, oh my goodness, what's going on? It's saying that we should put more money in than we thought. Well, that's part of self-funding. And so, but Jim showed, and I just don't want this to happen to you guys, right? In our quarterly meetings, you know, that first quarter, we say, hey, we're doing really good. We're at 50% medical loss ratio. Well, don't trust it, right? You shouldn't trust it. If it was 150, if it was 150 or 50, that data is way too immature. And so, but as we go self-funded, we'll build more, we'll keep all of this now becomes yours. And that's what's so good. Florida Blue is our partner now, but it's our data. And by law, they have to give it to us. And so if you decide ever that you want to leave Florida Blue, there won't be any problems modeling where we're going because we own that data.
And Darren, Florida Blue also right now is a friend of ours because they desperately need to become a part of this.
I think that
With as many districts in the state that use Florida Blue, and as the trend is going to self-insurance, I think they'll continue to be a good partner. And what this is going to do for us, and correct me if I'm wrong, Darryl, if you've got a pre-authorization now for medicine and you're paying $25, you're still paying $25. Our sister districts, they had folks that had pre-authorization, correct me if I step out of line, but they had to go back and seek authorization on some meds. And you had folks that had a time lapse where they were having to pay $500 or $600, $700, and we won't have that.
Depending on what medicines there were, but both Hardy and Hendry both had, they changed the pharmacy. It's called PBM, the Pharmacy Benefit Manager. So they went to OptumRx, which meant whoever they were with before, they didn't, that because they were fully insured, that data didn't transfer over. And so if they had to have prior authorizations for medicines, they had to get those resubmitted, go to their doctor, all those things. Florida Blue has assured us because we're staying within Florida Blue and moving to their pharmacy that all of those prior authorization records, everything that our members have had to do for medicines, things like that, visits, that all transferred over.
And there, again, we will have access to those pre-authorizations if we ever choose to move to a different form. That's now our pre-authorizations, not Florida Blues. So if we do ever choose to go to a better pharmacy plan, we've got that in place and shouldn't have the
we can
gaps.
Grandfather those in to the new thing. So yeah, it's a whole different world when you've got your own data.
Awesome.
Also, I don't want you guys to forget the whole big picture of FSHIP is about getting to risk sharing, right? And so, and how that works. We presented that to you guys, and I'll be happy to come back and Jim and I can, and we can show you how that's developing. But it's coming. We don't have any districts risk sharing yet. Remember, those are 2-year funding period. But it's being developed and built. One of our sister companies about analytics is working really, really hard with the state of Florida, state of Tennessee, and building that risk sharing captive that DeSoto, Hardy, Hendry, Charlotte, and any other districts that come in will share some of that higher level catastrophic risk, and that's the whole idea of FSHIP. You're going self-funded. You're joining FSHIP so that they can help you with administrative support and paying some of those bills. You write one check to FSHIP, they help to pay that. They pay your contract effectuator, they pay Florida Blue, they do all that just like it was fully insured. And you're joining FSHIP with the opportunity and the hope and the plans to become risk sharing eligible. Contract effectuation and wellness. So we've got to keep working on our wellness program. We got to keep getting it mature. And then we have a contract effectuator. So we just need to make sure that they keep it.
Anybody else have questions?
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, well, thank y'all very much. That was a great presentation and, we appreciate your time and the insurance committee here. We appreciate all the work and all, Mr. Mead, that y'all have put into it. And Dr. Stafford, I don't know who all's involved in that, but we appreciate that because everything has went so smooth this year and just kept moving forward. So that makes us all happy. So, all right. We don't have anything else at this point. All right, we'll move on to public presentations. Is there anyone in the public that has something they would like to address the board on that's on the agenda? All right, we'll move to item number 6, financial reports.
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Mercer and second by Dr. Goodman. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to routine business. Okay. Okay, motion made by Mrs. Mott, second by Mrs. Schoonerman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we're back to Dr. Bennett.
New business.
New business, I'm sorry. Thank you, ladies. New business.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Dr. Goodman and seconded by Mrs. Schoonerman. Is there any questions or anything with all the new business?
I'm saying, I'm so excited for the new health insurance piece.
That's gonna be
It
great.
seems like just a no-brainer.
Mhm.
I'm sad that we didn't do it last year, but I'm so excited for this year.
Well, this is something we've tried several times over many years that I've been here to get, involved in. And so I'm very glad to see it moving forward. So, yes.
And also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Also to note, we continue to work with our police department and our sheriff's department to make sure everything is funded for our school resource office, crossing guards, all of that. And grateful for the good community support between those law enforcement agencies and our school district.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I was impressed by 8.24 of the monthly solutions. I'm looking forward to seeing the progress we're gonna make on that with our administrators.
Yes.
Awesome.
Moxley's a home run hitter.
Yes.
She'll make a difference to our principal candidates.
You.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So all in favor? Motion carries. We're back to you, Dr. Bennett.
Yes, ma'am. A couple of things real quick. I just had a conversation with Violet Brown yesterday. We got the bids back in on the new high school project. They're not, everything is on track. They'll be open and evaluated by the committee here in July, and we'll be coming back probably a second board meeting to make a recommendation for a contract. That all looks good. Right now, it's still an August presentation to get ranked out of 4 districts. By statute, we should be ranked number 1. And I'm going to bring that up to them frequently. By statute, we should be ranked number 1. Really and truly, the key is just being ranked, period, though. And they control the spigot, so you don't have too many projects coming down the line. Everything is looking very, very good with that. The next piece I want to update the board on is the workforce housing piece that we're looking at on the Nocte property. One Step has started some preliminary work, and I'll send you ladies an email on it. But we're talking about 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and studio apartments, and the rents would be from maybe $900 to $1,300 or $1,400, depending on the size of the apartment, which is very, very good. I'm going to meet with them on Wednesday. I've got a Zoom with them to see how it will break out. I've told them that we're not in favor of doing anything that gets us debt obligated, because we're looking at the school building piece moving forward. And so what we're looking at is a lease of the property and going in with a couple of foundations that are nonprofit, and then possibly a couple of individuals that are seeking some profit. Jim, you and Darren might be interested in that, since y'all don't make much money on this insurance, Michael. But we're going to try to come up with a funding pool that will allow the construction piece, and they're talking about a brief financing period that corporation would have. But what should happen with this is annually, we should, let's say it's $5 million, and I'm gonna simplify it, and I'll have to give y'all some corrective information as we get to July. But let's say that we've got two foundations that give $1 million each, we get three individuals that give $1 million, or two individuals that give $1 million, and our land value, let's say, is 1.2 million. If that's the case, we're in with 20% of the skin in the game, so to speak. But it's just our land that we're leasing. So what'll happen is once these rascals are paid off, and it'll probably be, a few years down the road, the district will get 20% of whatever those rents are annually. So it'll be another general fund measure that'll bolster that general fund. And if you start looking at 72 units and so the average rent is $1,200 a month, that's a pretty sizable chunk of change when you divide it by 5 or 6 stakeholders. So as I get more information, I'll try to update the board and the public on that. But I'm as excited about this and the new high school as I am anything that we're doing, and the insurance is right up there with it, gentlemen. I mean, these are good times for DeSoto County schools, and I appreciate all the hard work and the patience that y'all have had. Because I bring that country boy to the table, which doesn't bring much to it, and y'all have had to explain things to where I can understand it, and I appreciate it. And I've got a very good comfort feeling moving forward with all of these projects for our district. I think we're in a good spot. It's good to be in DeSoto County. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett. This time we'll move to board member presentations. Mrs. Mott.
We have public presentation.
Yes.
Oh. How did I miss that one? Okay, I'm sorry. Public presentations. Okay, go ahead.
If I don't, it will tear me up.
Absolutely.
But I do want to say, and I'm kidding, but I'm not. DeSoto Schools is the model program of FSHIP. He's aggravating me because I said something about Hardy Schools last year. Well, they were the only one in it. And you guys really are leading the way with Florida Blue and FSHIP, because there hasn't been. You drug Florida Blue to the table, and with Dr. Bennett kind of doing a good job with Florida Blue and holding them to account, and then Jim and I just staying on them. But they really worked hard. But you really are the model group inside FSHIP with Florida Blue, and it's exciting for us to see that. And I needed to make sure that I said that on the record. But it's the truth. It really is. We're excited.
Only thing would be better if you bought us the season tickets for DeSoto football.
I'll be in that game. I promise you.
I know you will. Thank you so much, Darren.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, at this time we'll go to board member presentations. Mrs. Mott.
So as the coach has mentioned, we appreciate all the support that the committee has done. And Gina, you've not had enough recognition today. Thank you for leading the charge and facilitating every single one of those and keeping us all focused and straight. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, looking forward to get stuff in that.
Huge appreciation to everybody on the committee working hard. This is a lot to get done. You guys have pulled it off better than what we could have imagined. So great. And I'm excited to hear about our VPK kids and everything that's going on. So thank you so much for all of the hard work going on there. This school year seems like it is going to be a really good one. So all the good things.
Thank you. Mrs. Goodman.
I feel really great about the insurance piece, because when I look at Mr. Meade sitting there and his expression, knowing that the union's on board with this, for me, that is the winner. That is winner, chicken dinner right there. Having him here and being a part of it. But I too want to thank all of you. Excited about the possibilities of teachers having a place to live. That's just so exciting. The high school coming on, man. We are really. I feel good about this. So much so that I don't have to run a campaign to get back on the board. Woohoo! Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you. Mrs. Mercer.
I just want to echo what everybody said. Thank you all for all your work, because
I know has definitely been a feat to get here. So appreciate all of that. Also, I last week got to watch and participate in the active shooter training that the police department and the sheriff's office and the fire department did. And I will tell you that it is mixed emotions watching all of that because you pray that they never have to use it. But it was really interesting to see how well prepared they are and all of the intense training that they do have to go through for that. So, but I do hope they never have to use it here. So,
That's good.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just follow suit with all of them. I do want to say that having a place for teachers to have living quarters means a lot to me, and that's always been a dream of mine. And I'd always tell James I'd see places and I'd say this would be a perfect place. I just don't know how we would do it. But I thank God that I'm allowed to be a part of that because that has been a dream of mine. So it's a
And it's all God.
responsibility. Yes.
I'll
And
tell you.
yeah, so
Yes,
I'm very, very proud of all of that. So at this time, I'll call for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Dr. Goodman, and second by Ms. Mott. We are officially adjourned. The time now is 6:13.
We're cooking.
Thank you, gentlemen. Again.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, who seconded that? Jordan.
Seth Becker was absolutely awesome. He did this too.
It's a good.
I just have a problem calling open this Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Don't forget this up here.
Why?
Yes,
That was, I'll call them tonight.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ladies, y'all, good evening.